Let's make a cute and easy Valentine's bracelet. I'm going to be using beads that I purchased from Amazon a few weeks ago. It's a Valentine bead set. It was, I think, $14 or $15, 320 pieces. Most of the beads are 10 millimeter, which means they're nice and large. And it also came with charms. So you can use whatever beads you want. The instructions I'm giving are generic, but I'm using this set because I love it so much. So what you're going to need is enough beads for the size of bracelet you're going to make. I have a bracelet board here, and I am doing it on a 7.5-inch round here because that is the average size wrist. So I designed it to fit that size. So I have beads that fit that size. And then I have a charm here, a little red heart charm, and it has a jump ring on it. And jump rings are rings that are put on the charm so that they hang straight on the bracelet or the necklace or whatever. If you purchase charms from Amazon, they generally do not have jump rings. If you purchase them like at Michael's or at Joann's at a craft store, they generally do, yes, have jump rings. Jump rings are not a problem, but you need to have tools to put them on and take them off. So if you don't have tools to do that, you're probably best off getting your charms at a hobby store that already have the jump rings attached. To make this as easy as possible, we're going to be using this 1 millimeter, it's an elastic cord. It's, I guess, woven or something, and that's what we're going to use to put this together. It'll be easy to slide on and off, no clasps, no glue, nothing needed here, just what you see in front of you. So what I need to mention too is if you are purchasing beads, like I get a lot of beads secondhand or thrift stores or garage sales or whatever, but if you are purchasing beads and you want them to be sort of all-purpose for this, you have to make sure that the hole is big enough for more general purposes. This is one of the beads I'm going to be using, and as you can see, it has a nice generous size hole. I would say it's a 1 millimeter. It'll fit wire, it'll fit elastic, all sorts of stuff. Sometimes you can get beads that are the hole's just too small. They're only good for like wire, or sometimes only really thin wire. I've noticed the pearls at Dollar Tree, which are really pretty and a really good price, have really tiny holes that aren't useful for a lot of things. So anyway, that's my disclaimer there. So these are 1 millimeter holes. Since this bracelet is 7.5 inches around, I've cut the elastic here to about double that, 14 inches. That'll leave us plenty of room to string this, plus tie some knots, both at the point of closing the bracelet and also at the ends. As I said, you will not need any glue for this or anything. We can just knot it. Since we want the knot closure and the charm to be at opposite sides of the bracelet, we just have to decide where to put the charm, and then we'll start knotting this at the opposite side. So let's put the charm maybe right there. I counted, and there are 20 beads here, so I'm going to count 10 from where our charm is going to go, and that's where I'll start beading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So even though the bead holes are big and generously sized, sometimes the ends of the elastic cord can get frayed. So I cut it off at a slight angle, and you might have to do this a couple of times as you're going through because it starts unraveling. All right, let's start beading. I'm going to start right here because this was our midpoint. And one more thing, I was able to count because these beads are the same size, but if your beads are different sizes, or if one side of the bracelet is slightly different than the other, which happens, they can be very beautiful if they're asymmetrical, then you'll probably have to measure. Also, I'm just stringing these on, no problem. I'm not worried about them coming off the other end because of the way the beads are and because of the way the elastic is. But if you think your beads might go flying off the other end, put a knot around one of the beads or a clamp, and that'll keep the beads from coming off the other end. So I'm going to continue beading these till I get to the charm. So we're right at midpoint here, so I'm going to grab that charm with the jump ring, and I'm going to just slide it right onto the thread here. And this is one of those times I wish I had smaller hands and more hands. All right, and there it hangs just the way we want it to. So I'm going to continue with the beading until I get to the end, and I'll see you then. And here we are, all strung, except we have these ends here. First thing I want to do is even these ends out. As you can see, one end is longer than the other, so let's center this bracelet on the elastic. You just have to fool with that, and it's all straightened, and the ends are even. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a couple of knots right here. 3 or 4 are usually good enough. You want it pretty tight. This woven stuff, it kind of holds itself because it's not slick, it's woven. If you do the elastic, you need to put glue on it, and usually I cover it with a bigger bead or these special silver beads or gold beads called bail beads. There. They hide the knot and keep the knot safe. But this, because it's woven, it kind of just sticks to itself. All right, so now the decision is, how long do you want these to be, these strings? Because part of the deal here is that they are exposed. So I'm going to go ahead and even these out, cut them down a little bit, and do 2 more knots. Okay, they're a more manageable size now, or length. It really is personal. I think this is a good length. And again, showing of the cord is just the style, and it's okay. So I'm going to tie 2 knots here, one at the end of this one. Like that, and the other at the end of the other one. The knots keep this from fraying anymore, and it kind of finishes it off. So here we are. Here's our bracelet. It took me more time to talk about doing this than actually doing it, and I think it came out great. Very easy to do. You can make them for others, make them for yourself, stack them up, make it as a joint project with some other people or a small group. You certainly have enough beads, and if you get a big roll of elastic like this, like I have, you will have enough elastic for the rest of your natural life. So that's how it's done. Wishing you a happy Valentine's Day, and thank you so much for watching.